Why are America's malls closing, and what makes them ideal for transformation into housing? In the 1980s and 90s, malls were iconic symbols of American life. Today, they are closing at an unprecedented rate. A 2023 Retail Dive report found that over 25% of malls are projected to shutter by 2030, driven by the relentless growth of online shopping, changing consumer habits, and shifting economic priorities. In the words of Rick Caruso, a prominent real estate developer, malls were built for a time when physical retail dominated. That time is gone. But here's the twist. The very qualities that once made malls ideal for shopping also make them perfect candidates for housing. They're centrally located, offer ample parking, and are often connected to public transit. According to a 2023 report by CBRE, nearly 50% of malls slated for closure are within urban or suburban areas where housing demand is highest. The housing crisis in the U.S. has reached alarming levels. According to the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, the country faces a shortfall of 7.3 million affordable rental homes for low-income households. Median home prices surged 38% from 2019 to 2023, and rental prices are climbing at double-digit rates in cities like Austin, Seattle, and Miami. Enter dead malls. A 2023 Urban Land Institute study found that converting even 20% of the nation's vacant mall space into housing could create 1.4 million affordable homes. Former Macy's stores, with their sprawling layouts, have already been transformed into apartment units in states like Ohio and Texas. By turning these underutilized spaces into housing, developers can ease demand, particularly in areas hit hardest by the crisis. Please like and subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us grow. Thank you. The Arcade Providence is not just an example, it's a blueprint. Built in 1828, it is America's oldest indoor shopping mall. By 2013, declining foot traffic had pushed the space into obsolescence. Developers, led by Evan Granoff, saw an opportunity. They converted the upper floors into 48 micro-apartments, with rents ranging from $750 to $1,500 per month, while keeping the lower floors as retail space. Granoff described the vision in a 2023 interview with Architectural Digest. "We didn't want to erase the past. We wanted to build on it." The arcade is living proof that history and modern needs can coexist. Today, the arcade is 100% occupied, and its success has inspired similar projects nationwide. Repurposing malls is not without its hurdles. A 2023 report by the Wall Street Journal detailed how developers face skyrocketing costs, often exceeding $100 million for large projects. The challenges range from removing hazardous materials, like asbestos, to reconfiguring layouts designed for retail, not residences. There's also the issue of public perception, notes Sarah Abrams, a commercial real estate consultant. Communities often worry about increased traffic, noise, and strain on local infrastructure. Despite these challenges, developers argue that these projects are investments in community revitalization. Unlike office buildings or warehouses, malls are inherently people-centric. Their wide hallways, high ceilings, and open layouts lend themselves to flexible designs. A 2023 study by McKinsey & Company found that malls are 30% cheaper to retrofit for residential use compared to office spaces. Moreover, many malls are located near public transit hubs, schools, and healthcare facilities, making them ideal for housing. As noted by urban planner Jeffrey Speck, malls were always about accessibility, repurposing them for housing builds on that same strength. Zoning laws can transform an ambitious project into a bureaucratic nightmare. Many malls are zoned strictly for commercial use, meaning developers must navigate complex rezoning processes to allow residential construction. A 2023 report from the National Association of Home Builders revealed that rezoning requests for mixed-use projects can take anywhere from 6 months to 5 years, depending on the municipality. For example, in Redmond, Washington, developers spent nearly 3 years negotiating rezoning for the Overlake Fashion Plaza, which is now being converted into a 200-unit housing complex. These delays often lead to increased costs and uncertainty, discouraging potential investors. Building codes also pose challenges. Residential properties require higher standards for fire safety, plumbing, and electrical systems. In older malls, this means completely overhauling existing infrastructure. Yet, states like Oregon and California are taking proactive measures. In 2022, California passed Senate Bill 6, which allows underutilized commercial properties to bypass some zoning restrictions for residential use, expediting these projects. Living in a former mall is an unconventional experience, blending novelty with practicality. Many residents cite convenience as a key benefit. Living above a coffee shop, gym, or grocery store is a unique perk that traditional housing often lacks. But there are trade-offs. Take the Highland Mall in Austin, Texas, now partially repurposed into residential spaces. Residents describe the units as modern and spacious, but the shared spaces can feel a bit sterile, according to tenant feedback shared in Austin Monthly. Privacy can also be a concern. Large communal spaces often lack the intimacy of traditional apartment complexes. Yet, affordability is a decisive factor. A 2023 Realtor.com survey found that mall conversions often rent for 10 to 20% less than nearby properties, making them attractive to young professionals and first-time renters. These spaces also draw tenants who appreciate the sense of history and creativity involved in living in a repurposed structure. Micro-apartments have found a niche audience, particularly among millennials and Gen Z renters, who prioritize location and affordability over space. In mall conversions like the Arcade Providence, these compact units average 225 to 400 square feet and come equipped with modern amenities such as built-in storage, foldable furniture, and smart home technology. Living in smaller spaces requires adjustments. Residents often adopt minimalist lifestyles, choosing multi-purpose furniture and carefully curating their belongings. Developers have also embraced the challenge by integrating communal areas like co-working spaces, rooftop gardens, and fitness centers to create a sense of balance. The appeal goes beyond economics. According to a 2023 CNBC report, 68% of micro-apartment dwellers said they appreciated the simplicity of small-space living, citing benefits such as lower utility costs and reduced maintenance. These units may not suit everyone, but for urban dwellers seeking affordable and central locations, they're a compelling option. Malls were originally designed to bring people together, and their transformation into residential spaces often preserves that ethos. Common areas like atriums, food courts, and wide corridors lend themselves naturally to fostering community. Developers enhance these features by adding shared amenities such as libraries, co-working spaces, and gyms. Take the case of Southdale Center in Edina, Minnesota, where part of the mall has been transformed into housing. Residents gather in the former food court, now a community hub with seating areas and performance stages. According to CityLab, this design encourages organic interactions among tenants, something traditional apartment complexes often lack. A study by the Urban Land Institute in 2023 found that residents of mixed-use developments report higher levels of community satisfaction, citing increased opportunities for socialization and collaboration. This added sense of belonging is a key draw for mall apartment dwellers. When a mall closes, it leaves a void, not just in the retail landscape but also in the surrounding community. Businesses reliant on mall foot traffic often struggle or shutter, and property values in the area decline. Converting malls into mixed-use spaces, including housing, can reverse these trends. For example, in Alexandria, Virginia, the redevelopment of Landmark Mall into a mixed-use complex with residential units, offices, and a hospital has boosted the local economy. According to the Washington Post, property values in the area have risen by 15% since the project began in 2021. Local businesses have reported increased customer traffic from both construction workers and new residents. These projects also create jobs. A 2023 analysis by Economic Policy Institute found that every $1 billion invested in mall-to-apartment conversions generates approximately 8,000 construction jobs and long-term positions in property management and retail. Repurposing malls is both economically savvy and environmentally sustainable. From a financial perspective, developers save on land acquisition, which can account for up to 20% of total project costs. According to McKinsey & Company, retrofitting an existing structure can reduce overall costs by 10 to 15% compared to new construction. Environmentally, the benefits are even more significant. Demolishing a mall generates thousands of tons of waste, much of which ends up in landfills. Adaptive reuse projects, by contrast, reduce construction waste and minimize the environmental impact. A 2023 report from the Green Building Council found that reusing commercial spaces can cut carbon emissions by up to 30%. Moreover, repurposed malls often incorporate green technologies like solar panels and energy-efficient HVAC systems, further enhancing their sustainability. These features make them attractive not just to residents, but also to investors and policymakers seeking eco-friendly solutions. Mall conversions are part of a larger trend reshaping how Americans live and work. Urban planners increasingly favor mixed-use developments that combine housing, retail, and leisure in one location. These 15-minute cities, where all essential services are within a short walk or bike ride, represent the future of urban living. A 2023 Time magazine article highlighted how mall conversions align with these trends. By integrating residential units with commercial and recreational spaces, these projects create vibrant, self-contained communities that reduce the need for cars and encourage sustainable lifestyles. This shift also reflects changing generational priorities. Younger Americans are less interested in traditional suburban homes and more drawn to flexible, community-oriented living arrangements. Mall-to-apartment transformations are perfectly positioned to meet these evolving demands. The success of the Arcade in Rhode Island offers valuable lessons for cities looking to tackle housing shortages. One key takeaway is the importance of collaboration. Developers, local governments, and community organizations must work together to navigate regulatory hurdles and design spaces that meet residents' needs. Another lesson is the value of preserving a building's character. People want to feel connected to the spaces they live in, says urban historian Jane Smith. Adaptive reuse projects like the Arcade succeed because they honor the past while innovating for the future. Cities can also learn from the Arcade's focus on affordability. By offering a range of unit sizes and price points, the project ensures accessibility for a diverse tenant base. This inclusive approach has been critical to its popularity and long-term viability. With over 1,000 malls expected to close by 2030, the potential for housing conversions is enormous. If supported by streamlined zoning laws, tax incentives, and innovative designs, these projects could play a central role in solving America's housing crisis. More importantly, they signal a broader cultural shift. As the boundaries between work, leisure, and home life blur, spaces that integrate all three will become increasingly desirable. Mall-to-apartment conversions aren't just a stopgap solution. They could redefine urban living for generations to come. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. You can check out another video that is now on your screen.